Have you ever had a double or a look-alike? In the era of social media, having someone that looks like you could just be a fun coincidence, but lore would have us believe otherwise. In the mythology of these twin strangers, tragedy could befall you if someone sees your double. Worse yet, seeing your own would mark your certain impending death. While the threat of being replaced by such an entity appears to be nothing more than a movie trope, should we all still fear the horrible possibilities of doppelgangers?
Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we watch and dissect your favorite spooky movies.
I'm your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this is a mostly horror podcast.
Each season, we will rank 13 movies on a scariness scale from, you guessed it, 1 to 13.
We will uncover the real-life myths and legends that inspire these movies and tell you just how authentic they are.
This week, we commit crimes and face no consequences whatsoever in Infinity Pool.
So, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Have you seen Infinity Pool before you watched it for the podcast?
No, I saw it today. Today. This morning.
And?
Weird.
Did you like it?
It was interesting,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know if I'd purposely try to see it again.
Really?
Yeah. How'd you feel about it?
I liked it.
You liked it a lot?
I liked it a lot.
Really?
At first, I wasn't I was like, I don't know. It made me felt weird. It affected me a little bit. Like half an hour after watching it, I was like really like irritated and like
angry.
Yeah, it just
Really?
made me feel weird. But the more I thought about it, I think I really enjoyed it.
Really? Okay.
I did.
I mean, it was good, I guess would be the word. It was good in the way of like I wasn't expecting what happened to happen. But then some places I was like, okay, I saw that.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect by any means. I think some of it was excessive, overdone.
Mm-hmm.
But on the whole, the story, the execution was good. And I texted you jokingly, like, we're going to have another smooth brain moment. But the more I thought about it, and I did look into it, I'm like, it wasn't really that weird. I think the ending is where I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, I think I only felt that way in the beginning, but the more I watched it, the more I understood.
Yeah.
I felt like Doppelganger last episode was our smooth brain moment. We just couldn't piece it together.
I blame them, though. I don't think that was an us. Because, like, when you watch an artsy movie, for lack of a better term, like...
it's good, but you can't know what it is.
Right. Doppelganger was not that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
It was just not it. But this... Yeah, it wasn't as confusing as I initially thought. I think I was overthinking it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't think it's as deep as I'm making it seem. Like, I think it is just at face value kind of what happened.
Yeah. If you think too hard about it, it could be a little weird at first.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I enjoyed it a lot, more than I thought. Although I did want to see it when I saw the trailer initially.
Mm-hmm.
I just never did. So I was really excited to watch it. And then as it started and I went through, I'm like, I don't know about this. And then I think I had to really think about it like that night. And then I was like, yeah, I think I really liked it. So,
oh, okay.
I enjoyed it.
Interesting.
We did have it ranked as our 13th movie, which I don't agree with as it stands. I think... Again, the advertising and the trailer, I initially thought it was going to be like way crazier than it.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but not for like scary reasons.
Right. No, it was more like, wow, you going to do that? Like,
yeah, it was more like questionable things.
Right.
So it's not as scary as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's more shocking, I would say.
Right.
More disturbing.
Do you think anything that we've watched so far would go higher?
No, I still think this would be like the scariest if Us wasn't tonally funny in some moments. I think it could potentially close.
Yeah.
But because there is a certain sense of lightheartedness sometimes in Us.
Yeah.
Whereas there's not.
They're not making jokes today.
No jokes. This is all very, very serious stuff.
Yes.
While, again, not scary per se, just very intense, I would say.
Yeah. It's very emotionally trying at times.
Yeah, I think that's why it affected me. Like the ending
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And then there's everything that happened. Like, I was just like, that was a lot. That's like a lot to go through.
Yeah. You really feel like you experienced it with him. And
Yeah.
I think that's the most unsettling part of it.
Right. And I think that's a mark for a movie. I feel like if a movie makes me like think about it after for a while, or I'm like emotionally drained, or I feel a type of way,
Mm-hmm.
like I think that's usually a good sign that I don't want to say enjoyed it per se, but I thought it was good, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
Because like if I don't feel anything after a movie, I don't care.
Yeah.
This I was thinking about. I was looking it up. I'm like, what does it mean? Like,
Right.
So
Okay. I'm mid kind of thing. Like,
that's fair. I think
I can think of one example where I felt like emotionally drained, but I could agree it was a good movie, and I think that was like Mother, that movie with Jennifer Lawrence. That like emotionally stressed me out to no end, but I could accept that it was good in what it was doing and what the imagery and everything was trying to convey.
Yeah.
It didn't tire me out as so much. It was just the emotional turmoil of this man just keeping on agreeing to what's going on.
I know. Yeah. Not to talk about Mother too much, but that movie probably was stressing me out the most out of any movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
I remember when I first told you about it, because I think we actually happened to see it before you, and that doesn't usually happen.
Oh, is that what happened? I don't even remember.
I think so, because we saw it in theaters, I remember.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, imagine you're a party host, and it's the worst day of your life as a party host, and then add like 10 more negative points to that.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I cannot. So I know we're not talking about Mother this episode, but girl.
No.
If you want to feel so helpless and stressed out, go watch Mother.
Yeah.
But are you ready to hear some background on Infinity Pool?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Infinity Pool is a 2023 science fiction horror film written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg and starring Alexander Skarsgård, Mia Goth, and Cleopatra Coleman. The film follows a struggling writer and his wife on vacation who, after an accident, discover the country's dark culture. Putting it lightly.
Yeah.
Infinity Pool premiered at the Sundance Film Festival on January 22nd of 2023 and was released theatrically in Canada on January 27th of 2023 by Elevation Pictures. The film received positive reviews from critics with praise for the atmosphere, performances, and Cronenberg's direction, while some criticized its plot and storyline, which I was going to say I could totally understand someone not liking this movie as well.
Yeah.
I could totally see it.
For
I'm
sure.
like, it's self-indulgent sometimes, so.
Yeah.
Infinity Pool grossed $1.1 million from 1,835 theaters on its first day of release. It went on to debut to $2.7 million, finishing 8th at the box office and outgrossing the lifetime domestic run of his father's 2022 release, Crimes of the Future.
Oh, damn.
So this film did better than his dad's most recent movie, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, see, I forgot that Crimes of the Future came out around the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the year before.
So this whole film is very To Make Dad Love Me.
Yeah. He's like, please. I mean, you could definitely see the similarities between the two.
Yeah.
I know he has another movie called Possessor, which I haven't seen, but sounds more my speed than David Cronenberg.
Okay.
In any case, it did better than that one. So it has 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. The critics' consensus states, turbulent waters even for strong swimmers. Infinity Pool provides a visceral, all-inclusive retreat of Cronenbergian perversion for those wanting to escape commercial sundries. The audience consensus of Infinity Pool states, it is definitely a wild time, but when it's trying to be scary or provocative, it often is just confusing.
Yes.
70. Ready. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's not, like I said, it's not very scary. It's more just startling, maybe. What is happening here?
Yes.
So I could agree.
Ready to get into the plot?
Yes.
So novelist James Foster and his wife Em spend time at a resort in the fictional seaside country of Litolka, where a local festival is underway. The couple's chronic marital strife is exacerbated when Gabby, a fan of the only novel James has published to date, invites them to spend time with her and her husband, Albin. And Gabby is played by Mia Goth, and I haven't actually watched her in stuff yet. I know like she's in other horror movies like X. And
You haven't seen X or anything?
No, but now I definitely, after watching her in this, I definitely want to check it out.
X
for
is
sure.
good. I really like X. I haven't seen Pearl yet.
Yeah, isn't she in that as well?
It's the sequel to X.
Right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed X.
Yeah.
She's really good in that too.
Yeah, she's very crazy.
She's unhinged.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah.
And I think in a good way, personally.
But she's very compelling to watch.
Yeah. It's so funny because that's her. She uses her actual voice in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in X, she has an American accent and stuff.
Oh, really?
It sounds nothing like how she does. But someone said she sounds like a sickly Victorian boy. And ever since I read that, I'm like, I can't stop.
Unhear it?
I can't unhear it. She's like, I'll be a goth.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you mention it, especially towards the end when she was like, James, come out here. Cut me a wheel, baby.
I mean, not to make fun of her voice or anything, but it is an interesting voice. I think it has an interesting voice.
It's like a mixture of like a Victorian child and like Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I can see that. I can hear it, Trace. It's funny. But yeah, I really like Mia Goth and everything I've seen her in so far. So
yeah, no, it definitely makes me want to watch her and other stuff. The four have dinner and decide to spend the next day driving in the countryside, even though they have been warned that tourists are to remain on the resort compound at all times because the country itself outside of the resort is very dangerous.
Yeah, it's like barbed wire fence.
Yeah, it's like a compound. Yeah, like when they approach it.
Looks like a prison.
Yeah.
When they were mentioning the locals being like, what did she say exactly? But it alludes to them being like crazy and unhinged and stuff like that.
I just thought crime rate was high or something. They said something like that.
And I was like, holy shit, whatever country they're talking about probably wasn't happy with this movie. And then I'm like,
oh, it's fictional.
It's not real. I didn't realize that first.
I wrote it down too. I was like, gotta look into this weird festival that they're having. Like,
yeah. I was like, that you can't say that about like that. I don't know. And then I'm like, oh, it's not real. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. At a beach, as James urinates behind a tree, Gabby unexpectedly grabs him from behind and proceeds to give him a hand job.
The goal reach around.
Yeah.
And I found out that they had a cut of this movie that included a prosthetic penis that showed the whole act.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
I was upset enough by the whole, like, just seeing it hit the ground.
I was like, we didn't need to see that.
Yeah, like we know what happens when they make the face.
Is that a technical term?
Yes.
I'll make the face later. Jesus Christ.
After a long day of sunbathing and cooking, the tourists embark on a drunken drive back to their hotel. En route, James accidentally runs over a local man, killing him. Gabby insists that they cannot call the police as the country is corrupt and they will not be safe. And it's pretty dramatic what she describes. Like, she warns the wife, M, that she'll be raped and her body will be found the next day kind of thing.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. So obviously you're like, okay. Well,
I guess I'm leaving this body? Question mark? Like, what else is there to do? I mean, it's like a pretty big moral dilemma. It's like, okay, I could call the police and then I'd be in trouble, but then my wife would be killed.
Right.
So someone's already dead.
Yeah. So, he's killed instantly too. That was the shame of it. I was like, if he was still alive, definitely take him to the hospital or something. Or somebody.
I don't know. That was not great. Not a great thing that happened.
Yes. And I almost feel like the car was purposefully faulty for this scenario because before he hits him, the headlights keep going in and out. Like, he can't see, and it gets dark on the road, and he's trying to, like, hit it to turn it back on, and they go dark, and he hits this guy because he doesn't see it.
You think they tampered with it?
I think so. Because I think they chose him. That's why they did research on him.
They did, but I would disagree only because of the one line Mia Goth's character says. I don't know if you caught it. It's jumping way ahead, but she said, we didn't even have to stage anything because you screwed up by yourself.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, when she's taunting him on the car.
Oh.
She's like, we didn't even have to do anything. You just messed up.
She was
on
talking
him."
like so fast at that point,
Yeah.
just like taunting him that I was almost blocking it out.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah, but she did mention they did choose him, but they were going to plan to make him like do something. But yeah, she specifically said like, we didn't even have to do anything. You fucked up on your own.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that solves that for me. So the next day, James is arrested and is told that the penalty for his crime is death at the hand of the dead man's firstborn son. Which I'm like, that's extreme. And
death for death, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, what? He's like utterly shocked.
Yeah, he's like, what do you mean? Like,
I'm dying?
Yeah. However, the country has a unique system of justice whereby the guilty for a hefty fee can be cloned and have their duplicates killed in their place.
This is not justice.
Yeah, no, it's not really. And, well, we'll talk about it once it happens, but I got questions about just the execution in general.
Okay.
James, who married into money, pays the fee to escape execution. However, as part of the deal, he must watch the execution of his clone. Em is horrified by the entire affair and wants to leave immediately, but James is titillated by the spectacle and doesn't share her urgency.
He's like, yeah. That's so bizarre. Could you imagine watching yourself?
No, I could never be excited by that.
Something fucked up in the head.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy to think that they chose him. They somehow
just knew that
something
would
about
be something he would like. Yeah.
Weird.
It's like a weird level of self-deprecation, too, to know that like somebody deep down would really just like to see themselves brutally killed.
Right. It's like that being close to danger, but not actually experiencing it.
I guess. Because in a sense, he's kind of cowardice on his own. Like sometimes he seems hesitant, and especially before anything happens.
Yeah. It's a very interesting concept.
But I had questions about the law because I thought the government was duplicating these people to trick the families into thinking that they had killed the actual guy. I didn't think that they would just be sitting behind them watching the execution and not be upset.
That's what I immediately thought too, because like then what's the point? Because if you're not actually punishing the person who did it, then why are you bothering?
Right.
Because then you're killing this clone, which is a whole different moral debate because when they create them, they think they're themselves and
they make sure they share their memories and everything.
So at that point, they are like a person.
Yes.
So they're still killing something, but it's not the person who actually did.
Right. So it's strange.
Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like
yeah, that felt like a loophole. Like I thought they'd be like still have to watch, but like behind a glass wall or something.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're right there. Like you can see that the real one is
right behind you. Yeah. Also, the reason that they say that the firstborn son has to kill them is to like maintain family honor.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like what's honorable about killing the person that's not really the one that killed them?
Do you think there's a chance in the movie they make it seem like it's
possible they could have switched him out?
Yeah, do you think there's a chance? I don't think so personally, but do you think like the real one died in that instant and the clone took over and then every time this happens they die and then a new clone takes their place as opposed to they're killing the clone?
I don't know. I feel like that makes the ending make a little bit more sense.
You think so?
Yeah, a little. I don't know, but I could see it both ways.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. Like, I feel like, yeah, there's a 50-50 chance possibility that they switched him, but still also not sure.
Yeah, I read that was a possibility.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Because it doesn't matter in the end because
if they're still the same person.
Yeah, they have all the same memories. And,
right. And as long as they believe that the clone got killed, why does it matter? Like,
right. Who would know? And they could accidentally fuck it up by accident. Like, oh, we took the wrong guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, no, I'm not the clone.
He discovers that his passport is missing and encourages M to return to the United States. As soon as it went missing, I was like, bitch, how do you know it's missing, like, within 2 seconds?
He's like,
oh, no, it's not here.
Must be gone forever.
Yeah.
You should just leave.
Right. And they also sent him home with, like, a huge urn of the clone's ashes. And they're like, think of it as a souvenir. Like, what the
like, why?
Right. No, I don't want that. No, thank you.
No, you can keep that.
Ugh. But James ends up extending his stay by a week under the guise to M that he's going to work on this whole passport situation so his wife doesn't have to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, sure. She does stay for like an additional day, I think, though.
While I wasn't like the biggest fan of M, yeah, no, she needs to go. Like, don't put yourself through this nonsense.
Right. This man crazy. You just get out of there with your money.
Right.
So James extends his stay by a week and encounters Gabby and Albin again. They introduce him to a small group of Western tourists who are all...
The worst?
Yeah. Also, Gabby takes him aside, too, in a bar where they have a drink right after he extends the trip and says that her husband and her discovered this little beautiful secret by one of the trips that they made out here a few years ago when her husband was installing an infinity pool in a different building. And I just thought I'd mention it since it includes the title, too, because there's really not an infinity pool present.
No, it's just a metaphor.
Yeah. And I guess they sort of put him in a pool thing, but it looks like clay or something coming out of it.
Oh, yeah, when they first make him? Yeah, we didn't really talk about that. Yeah,
yeah. Talk about, like, how they change him. It's weird.
So, like, he goes in this, like, knee-deep kind of pool, but it's like either red water or, like you said, kind of clay, goo. He has, like, this thing put in his mouth that keeps his mouth, like, open.
Yeah.
And he just starts, like, seeing, like, all these psychedelic colors, and he's, like, tripping balls. I don't know. It's just, like, a lot of weird imagery.
Yeah.
And he does see images of Gabby.
Yeah.
Which we didn't mention, which I don't think matters really all that much.
There's a lot of psychedelic kind of moments, too.
So you don't really see a process go down, more or less. You just see him standing there and flashing all these lights. Like, you don't see any technical mumbo-jumbo about how it's actually done.
Yeah.
He's just standing in this weird thing.
Honestly, the process seems so embarrassing, though, because, like, they take him into, like, a room full of, like, 2 or 3, well, maybe 3 or 4 doctors.
Yeah.
And he's, like, completely naked, and they're, like, measuring him and stuff like that. I could see myself agreeing to the clone and then being measured and being like, never mind, they could just shoot me or
just
whatever.
guesstimate the length. Like, you don't need to.
No, they have to do it again. He got lucky because his was an exact replica.
Yeah.
So... yeah, no, I don't want to be measured or anything.
No. It's fine. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Again, it doesn't matter. See, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be exact because, again...
you're going to kill it.
You're going to kill it, and everyone knows it's not real anyways.
Yeah.
So why does it have to be exact? Like, these rules are arbitrary.
They even temporarily meet it before the execution. Like, it's real weird.
It's in that bag, like a bag almost, and only its head is showing. It's like, meh. Oh,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Gabby explains that when they were there a few years back, her husband was installing an infinity pool, and 2 of the workers got killed putting it in, like it fell on them or something, some weird project.
It was an accident.
Error.
Yeah.
And they got sentenced to death as well, but paid to have the clones, which I feel like it was just him, not her, but whatever. So they paid to have the clones do it and then kind of like develop this little secret society within the resort. So they introduce them to these friends that also enjoy committing crimes and then having their clones killed for it. So, yeah.
It's, I mean, hobbies, I don't know.
Hobby?
Yeah, it's just a little hobby.
Yeah, just a little. These people return to the resort annually, commit heinous crimes, and pay to watch their doubles get slaughtered. Over the next several days, they encourage James to transform into a libertine criminal, encouraging him to kill locals, engage in intoxicated orgies, and abuse the resort staff.
Orgy. Yeah, there's a lot of sexual moments, like graphic. Like if you catch some of it, I'm like,
a lot. Yeah, I'm like,
there's penetration.
Yeah.
From the inside. I was like, oh.
From the inside.
There's a shot of a willy going into.
Oh my.
But filmed coming at you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like really brief. I was like, oh.
Yeah, bless my soul. I didn't need that.
I know. But I could only imagine what the other cut had with the prosthetic weenie.
Oh God. Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, oh wow.
So they become like freaking little gang basically around the resort. They're just terrorizing other guests, like throwing food at them.
This freaking gang. This little freaking gang.
And they decide that there's this guy that lives on top of the hill that is awarded some sort of medal for, I don't know, this process of cloning people and having them slaughtered. So they're like, we've decided that we want the medal.
Well, I think
or something like that.
That was the guy who sentenced Gabby and her husband.
Oh, okay.
In the infinity pool incident.
So I guess like a judge or official or
something like that.
Yeah, and he received some sort of medal, and they decided to break into his house to get it. And it just sounds like they're like a bunch of teenagers just talking about like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we just broke in and stole something? No, it's pretty bad.
It's worse than that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they round up a bunch of people in his house. Most of them are naked or in some form of undress. And Gabby's like playing chicken with James the whole time, trying to get him to shoot this guy. And one point they get arrested and Gabby fires off the gun and shoots somebody. Like, anyway, either way, because of the break-in and them harassing people and stuff like that, they all get sentenced to death. Again. And we see them all kind of like just sitting there like, haha, like, wonder what's taking so long. Yeah. And they're all just sitting in their little robies and like, and just like, oh, when can we get going? Like,
yeah, we're just vibing.
And they take them down like the secret passageway and they're like, where are we going? I don't understand. And take them to be executed. And James freaks out and tries to fight to get away, but they all eventually get their throats slit. Shing. And then as soon as that happens, we hear clapping, and it's the group watching them.
Yeah, for a second, the way they make it seem is like, because the guy's like, all right, this is the last time, you don't get any more.
We're going to make an example. Yeah.
Yeah, so you think for a second, oh shit, they're actually going to die.
There was no way.
No, it was all a ruse.
Yes.
So those were the clones again.
Which again, I feel like in some ways, I guess I get why they're letting them take this liberty, because vacation money is good money, gives you a lot of money.
But people are dying.
But people are dying in your own country. And also, is it really that inexpensive to make clones?
In Latolka, sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because, like, if it was, like, petty crimes and it was still, like, death sentence, then sure, make the clone. But, like, you're endangering, like, people.
Yeah.
Like, not just other tourists, but, like, people on your country.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, that's fine.
Just let them go. They pay a pretty penny.
Yeah, I guess money. But you could be next, my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
They could kill you.
Right.
So, in any case, they're just getting away with everything they want.
Yes. But I feel like that's a big plot hole, too. Like, would really a country consider doing that?
In this fictional world, I guess so.
Yeah. So it keeps escalating there. Like, they're just doing all kinds of random, inappropriate stuff and having orgies. And at one point, he tells M basically he's not coming back, or M tells him to just stay there because she realizes that he's a freak because he likes this,
You're
like,
weird.
Yeah. Oh, because she leaves right after the whole party incident where they went into these people's houses and attacked them, because then she realized that he was addicted to doing it.
Yeah.
So she left and she's like, you're a freak. And he's like, oh, run back to daddy. And I'm like, who's going to pay for you staying here, though?
Right.
And if you're poor, eventually you won't be able to afford a clone.
Yeah. Then you're actually going to die, my dude. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, I kind of thought maybe that was the way they're going to go, with like where he'd eventually run out of money.
He gets cut off or something.
Yeah.
That would suck. Oh, my God.
I guess it must have taken some time.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
So Gabby introduces him to an aphrodisiac, this drug of some sort that they inhale, and he likes it a lot. And they have an orgy with like all the other members of the group. And there's weird imagery of
very
Gabby.
Inclusive.
Huh?
It's very inclusive.
Very, yeah. Like some, like Gabby and M, him and Albin at times, I think, or some other man in the group.
Oh, everyone was doing everybody.
Yeah, everybody was involved. My most concerning part of the scene was the weird nipple thing.
Oh, yeah.
I felt really uncomfortable with that. I didn't like that at all.
With the thing coming out of the nips?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know
it just
what that
extends and goes into their mouth, and like it was like a little sausage. I don't know.
It was a little sausage, a nipple sausage.
A nipple sausage.
Not the nipple sausage, Stephanie.
I don't know. It was too long to be regular nipple. Like,
well, it was definitely something coming out of it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the nipple, and they were eating it.
Ugh.
Yeah, that I don't see. That's what I mean. Where it goes a little too far, where you're like, I don't even know what that
was supposed to do.
Was that just supposed to be shocking?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So that was one of that was definitely, I forgot about it, honestly.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention it because it just becomes such like an everyday part of their crimes. Since they're having this sort of festival, for some reason, this festival includes these really grotesque masks that they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't like the one that had like all the little holes. Didn't like that they kept focusing on that one. But I mean, after a while, it just becomes like, okay, they're wearing a mask. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know exactly what mask belongs to almost every person after a while,
and
too.
And they steal them from a gift shop. Yeah. Funny enough. It was just like, for sale.
For sale.
I'm good.
Okay. So the next evening, he's rattled when one guy takes him aside and says that there's like an issue with your passport. And it's the guy that you spoke to at the courthouse, wherever, that made the execution arrangement with him. And he's holding up your passport because of all your crimes and stuff. So we're going to take him and you can beat him or whatever, basically, or teach him a lesson.
Which you mentioned the passport, which he knows that's not true because...
I know. So why does it matter?
Right. I'm like, okay, so why'd you believe... Anyways.
He doesn't care. He wants to beat someone up.
Yeah,
so
hell yeah.
So he believes that this man was the police detective that originally arrested him. And he beats this man that's just kind of like lying on the ground with a hood over his head, so you can't tell who it is. I'm like, it's obviously going to be himself.
Yeah.
And he pee-pees on his head. And then Gabby like takes off the hood and she's like, finish it. Like,
Surprise.
Isn't that funny? Haha. And he gets weirded out because he doesn't want to brutalize himself.
But he'll watch it just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is one thing that doesn't make sense. Like, why do they have him cloned? Like, why do they have a cloned version of him walking around? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're only making clones of people
when they commit the crime,
then why is there a clone of him?
They asked for it was the thing. I think that's what they said.
They asked for the clone?
They said that we just asked for one.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, so they just paid for another one.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense then.
Yeah.
JK. See, like, I even missed that.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
It's a lot. And then in a moment of clarity and panic, he retrieves his passport that he hid under the toilet.
This bitch!
Which in reality he had hidden in order to stay in Latoka and attempts to flee. However, the tourist group accosts him and abducts him from the bus, transporting him to the airport.
Oh my God, this part.
Yeah, it's like, wow, make him walk on the hot coals.
Yeah, but Mia Goth at this point really shows how fucking nuts she is.
Yes.
But she does a fantastic job at conveying that.
Yes.
I hated her so much in this moment. Like, she pissed me off.
Really? What was the thing that was making you upset?
Oh, when she was taunting him and just how she was like, how she was delivering her line. She's like, yeah, Jamesy. Like, I wanted to like die. I'm like, shut up. You're my baby. Yeah. I was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know.
I hated her character in this moment. But I think that's a good thing because...
Yeah, you really understand how far they've come at this point.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. But anyways.
And I mean, they just like pull up alongside the bus and just start shooting at it. And just then fine. They're like, Jamesy, come out. He's a little coward, little boy, little baby, come here, Jamesy. Like,
oh my God.
And they make him walk in front of the car as they drive slowly behind him. And she reveals that she finds him pathetic. And they have been abusing him this whole time for their own amusement, hoping to turn him into a fellow murder tourist, and that they have never read his book. And she even reads him a bad review.
That's what like makes him like snap. He's like, what the hell?
Right. He attacks her and they wrestle. And they wrestle for the gun and she shoots him in the leg as he runs away. He runs off and eventually passes out in front of a farmhouse. And the family there takes him in, and apparently it's the same family of the man he murdered.
I don't think it actually was, because he has that vision of the boy.
Oh, yes. It's just a vision.
Yeah, and he ends up waking up. So I don't think it actually was.
Okay.
Because, that kid comes up to him and, like...
Yeah, he has, like, a weird nightmare thingy while he's getting healed up at this farmhouse where he thinks that the son that supposedly executed his clone comes up and tries to strangle him. But then he wakes up and the farmhouse is surrounded by the tourists, and they order him to kill a leashed duplicate of himself that they refer to as the dog to complete his transformation. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. That's messed up.
I'll pass. It's fine.
Yeah, but then they release this dog clone of him, and it attempts to kill him, and James beats him to death. And he's really upset about it. So Gabby consoles James by letting him nurse from her breast after she rubs some of the clone's blood on her nipples.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
But this is like his rebirth.
Yes, exactly.
He's symbolizing.
Yeah, that
and I was
his
like,
new life.
I could respect it. As
Yes.
weird as that is to look at. I'm like, okay. And like he kills his clone, but like he obliterates this thing's head.
Yeah,
and
it's like past recognition.
Yeah, it was uncomfy to watch. I hated that part, but...
So the next day, it turns out that the season has finally come to an end. They kept on saying that the rainy season was coming and, eventually the tourists would leave. And as they head back to the United States, the other tourists casually chat about upcoming errands. It's just like going back like to their normal day lives. Like, oh, we got to pay that guy for cleaning out the garage, and we got to check in with the sitter or something like that. All kinds of weird, just like mundane shit that these people that were literally killing people and doing the most weird shit to each other.
I know. This is the part that I got really confused because I think I was over like trying to analyze, like, did that really all happen? Was that all in his head? But
yeah.
No, it really did. But they're just going back to their normal life.
Like they just flicked off a switch.
Yeah. And again, for the longest time after, I'm like, yeah, maybe that was all in his head, and he just projected these people he saw, but
no, this is them.
They're back to normal, quote unquote, and they're ready to go back to their lives.
Yeah.
And so they come here once a year and do that. And then,
The noticeable thing too is especially Gabby, because even though like she's married and so is James, they're very like flirtatious, always touching and stuff like that. And now that this part of her is over, she just acts like, oh yeah, bye James. Like, they see you next time.
They don't even really say anything to him. They're just kind of
not really. They're just like, oh yeah, see you next year, kind of thing. That's all they really say to him.
I mean, I guess that, you know what? These people probably hold no grudges because they're probably like, by the next day, they're like, okay, bye. It's fine. Everything's good.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Once the trip is over, I guess.
Yeah.
Oof.
Isn't that bizarre?
Yes.
That's insane. That's the weirdest part. They're just like normal people.
Yeah, and I think it really startled him too. And you even hear him on the phone right before he leaves, like begging his wife for forgiveness, like saying, I'm coming home, I'm so sorry, and stuff like that. I'm gonna be on a plane and be right there. And after seeing how they behaved, he just resolves to remain behind instead and goes back to the closed down resort where he sits alone while it downpours on him.
The monsoon is coming.
As a monsoon.
He's accepting his true self.
That, and he can't revert back to his sense of normal after this point. Yeah.
Accepting what he basically became.
Mm-hmm. But that's what makes me think maybe it was a clone, because if the clone took over after that initial execution, that's all the clone really knows. I mean, it has memories, but all that it's physically actually done is these violent acts.
Maybe.
Just a theory, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. But since they come back every year, I don't know. I don't know. I could go either way. There's really no definitive.
But I will say, though, that they never show them in the pool thingy again where they do the whole cloning process. So it feels like once they have a copy, they can just keep making a copy.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's Infinity Pool.
Yay!
Woo! Outside
Come
of the...
here, Jamesy, you little
baby Jamesy. Yeah!
You pathetic little writer, Jamesy.
Oh my God. I'm like, no! Stop it. I hated it. I hated it so much, but it did a lot.
Yes. Would you like to go into cloning?
Oh, sure do.
Cloning is a process that involves creating genetically identical copies of organism cells or DNA sequences. It has various applications and implications in different fields, including genetics, biotechnology, and medicine. Here is an in-depth exploration of cloning. Types of cloning. There are different types of cloning, including reproductive cloning and therapeutic cloning. Reproductive cloning aims to create an entire organism that is genetically identical to the original. This involves transferring the genetic material from a donor cell into an egg cell that has had its genetic material removed. The resulting embryo is then implanted into a surrogate mother for gestation. Reproductive cloning has been successfully performed in animals such as the famous case of Dolly the sheep in 1996. And it's come a long way. I've looked up that they've done thousands of dogs and cats at this point.
Oh my God.
And for the price of a new car, you can clone your furry friend. Maybe a little less, actually, than a new car.
I think I hate that.
Yeah.
I think I absolutely hate that a lot.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I immediately went to my dog, Zuko, obviously. But
Right.
I couldn't imagine Zuko passing away and then getting something that looks just like him, but isn't him.
Yeah, because I feel like, yeah, you can make like a genetic replica of him, but you can't copy the soul of him and stuff like that. He's not going to be exactly the same.
Right. That's not him.
Yeah.
You know, like all the memories we had isn't.
Yeah, it's not that.
Ooh, I hate that.
No.
I hate it. I don't like it at all, Stephanie.
Stubby.
It makes me icky. It makes me feel weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fascinating that that's possible, but like, no.
But uncomfy.
Yeah, it's uncomfy.
Yes. Therapeutic cloning, also known as somatic cell nuclear transfer, involves creating clone cells or tissues for medical purposes. It is primarily focused on producing cells that can be used for research, drug testing, and potentially for regenerative medicine. Therapeutic cloning is an active area of research, but is not yet in medical practice. I think this is what they hope to do with like stem cells, like taking stem cells from like umbilical cords to improve malformed genomes and some stuff like that.
Gotcha. This is all very sciencey.
Very
oh boy,
sciencey.
Here we go.
Cloning methods can vary depending on the type of cloning being performed. Here are two commonly discussed methods. Somatic cell nuclear transfer involves replacing the nucleus of an egg cell with the nucleus of a somatic cell from the organism to be cloned. The egg cell, now containing the genetic material of the donor, is stimulated to divide and develop into an embryo. So that's just like normal implantation of a pregnancy almost. Aside from it scientifically being put there.
Yeah.
The dividing and stuff. This method has been used in the successful cloning of animals. Pluripotent stem cell induction, another method being researched for therapeutic cloning, involves reprogramming adult cells to become pluripotent stem cells. These induced pluripotent stem cells can then be differentiated into various cell types for medical applications. This method has the potential to bypass the need for using eggs and embryos in the cloning process. Cloning raises various ethical considerations and has been the subject of ethical debates. Some of the key concerns include reproductive cloning. The cloning of humans raises ethical questions related to the potential risk and consequences of creating genetically identical individuals. There are concerns about the potential for exploitation, loss of individuality, and the impact on human identity and relationships. Ethical concerns related to therapeutic cloning often revolve around the use of embryonic stem cells, which are typically derived from cloned embryos. The use of embryonic stem cells has raised ethical debates due to the destruction of embryos in the process. However, alternative methods such as the use of iPSCs are being explored to address these concerns. Cloning has various applications in different fields for research, biotechnology, conservation, and cloning has made significant breakthroughs in medical research, particularly in the field of regenerative medicine. Obviously, this is for cloning of animals, as we talked about, for medical studies, cloning of stem cell research, which we talked about before, and cloning for organ transplantation for disease modeling. So this is what I was talking about with like cloning a cell to like regenerate the bad cell for the disease. And it's important to note that while cloning has shown promise in medical research, there are still many challenges and ethical considerations to address. The field is continuously evolving, and ongoing research aims to refine cloning techniques, improve success rates, and explore new applications. In summary, cloning is the process of creating genetically identical copies of organism cells or DNA sequences. It involves different methods such as reproductive cloning and therapeutic cloning. Cloning has various applications in research, biotechnology, and conservation. However, ethical considerations surround the practice, particularly in the case of reproductive cloning and the use of embryonic stem cells. Cloning continues to be an area of scientific exploration and debate. The end.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah. In summation, you could just magically make two things out of one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a brief overview of...
A very brief
overview of cloning.
Are you okay?
Cloning can make cells, make some animals.
You are sounding not well.
I'm tired.
You're tired?
Yes.
Wake up.
No.
Stephanie, science. Look at the science behind Infinity Pool.
Ugh.
Infinity Pool that's exactly how it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful, and we will always appreciate it.
If you'd like to find us on social media, you can follow us at 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
This is James. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I like the little, this is James, by the way, an asterisk. This is James.
Yes.
Jamesy.
Jamesy, baby.